Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Truth Politics. Today's most important topic and sensitive topic. Recently, see of around of you, all of areas. Why lose youngsters in belief in election commissions, trust of politicians? Analysis very details and simple way. First of all, why young voters are losing trust in politics? A detailed analysis. Below I and peak the main causes, show how they connect, summarize the consequences, and finish with particle fixes politicians and epic. Below I unpack the main causes, so how they cannot summarize the consequences and finish with practical fixes politicians and civic actors can use to start rebuilding trust. I'll city major studies so you can follow up on my point. The big picture snapshot. What the data show. The trust government and political institutions is how across advanced democracies and has dropped. Further, since the early 2020s, youngsters charts consistently report lower trust than older cohorts on many measures. At the same time, many young people say politics matters to them personally and that they want change. They are have disengaged from traditional politics but achieve issues based politics. Protests, online campaigns, community projects. The root causes what's driving the distrust, economic insecurity and broken promises. Young people face prolonged unemployment, risk student debt, precarious work and sharply rising housing cost in many countries. When large majorities feel the economy doesn't work for them, institutional trust fails, especially among cohorts entering the job market. Several OECD and PIB analysis link financial insecurity to lower political trust. Perceptions of corruption, special interests and politics for sale. Across countries, young people report that politics is dominated by elites, lobbyists and money and that politicians are self-serving. That perceptions often backed by high-profile scandals erodes belief that politics can deliver fair outcomes. PIB's analysis and national polls represented repeatedly. Analysis and national polls reportedly surface this there. Policy mismatch and representations gap. Young voters often feel that mainstream parties ignore the issues they care most about: climate, housing, precarity, mental health, or that parties treat those issues as secondary. Then institutions fail to represent their priorities. Young people there electorally or move to non-traditional parties. Climate anxiety and intergenerational fairness. Climate change is a uniquely silent issue for younger cohorts. Perceived inadequate actions by governments or prioritizing short-term growth over long-term sustainability depends cronyism and moral disillusionment. Policy inactions becomes a credibility problem. Social media informations and institutions delegitimizations. Social media accelerates exposures to scandal, conspiracy, and polarized narratives. It also amplifies distrust by creating echo chambers that emphasize institutions' failure and make collective solutions harder to organize. Academic reviews tie online misinformations and polarizations to lower institution trust. Weak civic infrastructure and participation's pathway. Young people often report lacking clear, accessible way to influence policy. Formal channels, transparent constitutions, youth courts, meaningful civic educations. When participations feel symbolic rather than consequential, trust erodes. OECD's country analysis document in this document how these causes interact. The feedback loops: economic pain, demand for change, unmet expectations, perceptions politicians doesn't care, disengagement, scandals plus social media is equal to rapid spread for negative narratives, generalize suspicions of institutions, lack of voice plus issues mismatch, channel shift from voting to protest, online activism, which institutions interpret as rather than informed critique, so that doesn't respond, enforcing the cycle. Consequences: white matter, lower electoral turnout among young people can change policy and legitimations of elected bodies. Politics shift towards polarizing populist alternatives that claim to represent the people against corrupt elites. Short-term policy making, rewarding visible wins instead of long-term problems solving. What young voters actually want. Policies that address economic precarity, housing, job, students, debt reliefs, meaningful climate actions, and international justice. Clearer transparency and anti-corruption measures, not just rhetoric. Accessible channels to influence decisions, participatory budgeting, youth advisory bodies that with teeth, better civic educations and digital literacy so that can evaluate informations rather than swamped disinformations. Concrete steps to rebuild trust for governments and parties. First one, target economic pain points, credible with plans, housing, affordability, jobs, security, student relief, and apprenticeship schemes tie deliverable to timelines and publish program. Second, transparency and anti-corruption. Stronger lobby registers, campaigning, finance reforms, rapid disclosure of conflicts, independent anti-corruption bodies with public reporting, institutionalize youth influence, largely backed youth councils, courts for youth representations on commissions, mandatory youth impact assessment for major policies. Fourth one, climate policy with measurable near-term and long-term steps, medicines with credible budgets and regulatory milestones. For civil society and tech platforms, scale digital literacy and foods programs in schools, universities that tech source evaluations and civic tech skills. Design engagement that leads to influence, participatory bodies, citizens assemblies where outcome translate into legislations or binding municipal decisions. Platform accountability, reduce amplifications of misinformations, label meaningful, manipulative content, and provide frictions for mass sharing of unverified claims. For political communicators, stop treating youth as a monolith. Speak to concrete issues, job, housing, and climate so deliverable roadmap and use participatory formats rather than top down messaging. Surveys so young people respond when they are see clear pathway to change. How to measure program? Youth Trust Index 18 to 29th mid-age tracked annually. Baseline target. Youth turnout and registrations rate. Number and impact policy. Uptake of youth consultations, participatory budgets, metrics on corruptions, and representations from reputable survey. Example: PEW and OECD. Limits and variations. These dynamics vary by country. In some places, youth distrust primarily about corruptions, unemployment, or climate risk. The studies I'll have sites cover cross-country patterns and national care studies use country-specific polling for tailored policy choice. धन्यवाद। जय मां भारती।